With that, we bring in former Attorney General under President Trump, Bill Barr, author of One Damn Thing After Another, Memoirs of an Attorney General. Bill, always good to see you. Thank you for being here today. I want to start actually by playing this soundbite that was from yesterday when the special master, when the judge said that there could be a special master in this case. Here's what Andy McCarthy said. Let's play that.
Oh, it's a big win for the Trump team, and it's a potentially explosive ruling if it holds. They've been merrily along conducting their investigation with the agents, assuming all these documents were appropriate for the investigation. Now the judge is saying, hold everything. He may have executive privilege.
So what do you think about that, Bill? Do you agree?
Well, I agree with Andy, who wrote an article in the National Review this morning sort of dismantling the opinion. The opinion, I think, was wrong, and I think the government should appeal it. It's deeply flawed in a number of ways. I don't think the appointment of a special master is going to hold up, but even if it does, I don't see it fundamentally changing the trajectory. In other words, I don't think it changes the ball game so much as maybe we'll have a rain delay for a couple of innings. But I think that the fundamental dynamics of the case are set, which is the government has very strong evidence of what it really needs to determine whether charges are appropriate, which is government documents were taken, classified information was taken and not handled appropriately, and they are looking into, and there's some evidence to suggest that they were deceived. And none of that really relates to the content of documents. It relates to the fact that there were documents there, and the fact that they were classified, and the fact that they were subpoenaed and never delivered. But they don't have to show the content, the specific advice given in a memo, for example, in order to prevail in this case. So I think it's not really going to change the decision.
So you think the special master will be overturned on appeal by the DOJ?
I think if DOJ appeals eventually, it would be overturned.
How long will that take?
Well, that's why it could be delayed. I hope they expedite it, but it could take several months to get that straightened out.
So you said the other day that basically, you thought it was egregious that the documents were taken. You said, you can't take these classified documents and put them at a country club, and you felt that the Trump team had jerked around the Department of Justice. But you just touched on something that for me is so central here. What's in them, and why didn't he want to return those particular documents? And so, but you said if it's just the documents, and this is the case, as egregious as you see it, you don't see any prosecution happening as a result of it.
Well, let me explain something, because there's a lot of confusion over executive privilege.
Yeah.
Let's say a document has the DOD's secretary recommendation on strikes against a hostile nation in retaliation for something. We should bomb X. That is potentially privileged if someone outside the executive branch tried to compel its production, like Congress or a grand jury. But that's not where we are. Number one, that document clearly is not the president's. It clearly goes to the archives. Number two, the judge has just acknowledged that it can go to the intelligence community to assess the damage. The reason that's not a problem under privilege is because it's not going outside the executive branch. The question presented here is one she doesn't even address, but it's the only issue really in dispute, which is, can a former president say that this document, an executive privilege, precludes executive branch agents who are looking into whether a crime was committed from reviewing those documents? It's too early to say that they're going to try to put those documents before a grand jury. There's no contemplation right now or proposal to put it outside the executive branch. So her decision is premature. And the dispute isn't over whether this document is potentially executive privilege and this one isn't. That's not the dispute. The dispute is whether the president, even if it is executive privilege, can the president bar DOJ from reviewing the documents? And the answer to that, I think, is clearly no.
So you're saying that only comes into play if you're going to put those documents before a grand jury.
Right.
So that in this venue, this period of this investigation, within the executive branch, there's no ability for the president to say, I brought these with me. They're my papers. I have every right to keep them at the house if I want to keep them at the house.
Yeah.
And you can't look at them, Department of Justice.
Totally wrong. Totally wrong. The other thing that people are missing here is this case is very unlike most of these disputes on executive privilege. Usually it's the content of the communication that is the evidence. Let's say someone in the Oval Office says, we can do this if we do that, and there's a discussion of a potential crime. So they want to take the actual content and use it as evidence. That's not the situation here. All the government has to show is that these documents contain, they're not going to take that valuable content, that sensitive stuff, and put it before a grand jury, but they should be able to review it. For example, maybe they could redact that document and take out the sensitive stuff so the jury can see, yes, it was sensitive, But you don't think it's ever going to get to that point? You say you don't see them, the Department of Justice, trying to prosecute this case because it's a former president, because of the time period? No, what I've said is, I think that even if they can technically make the case, that there's another step, which is prudentially, do they want to do it? Because it's a former president and its impact on the country. I hope they don't do it. But, the law here, I think, is pretty clear. That the Justice Department should be able to review these documents. If it got to the point where they wanted to actually put the documents before the grand jury without sanitizing them and protecting the deliberative process, then you would litigate the issue. But for her to come in now and sort of this abstract thing and say this guy's going to decide what is potentially privileged dodges the question, which is, does the president have standing to assert the privilege against the existing administration?
So he came after you, of course, for saying what you said the other day. They were jerking around, called you a RINO. Do you care about any of that?
No, I mean, I've heard that a lot.
You got used to it.
But, you have to remember, a RINO for him is anyone who disagrees with him that the election was stolen. Right, that's a RINO. Now, as someone who handed out Barry Goldwater literature when I was 14 years old on the Upper West Side, it's a little silly.
You don't think your Republican credentials are in question. Thank you, sir. Always good to see you. Attorney General Bill Barr, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.